Good day viewers, so welcome to my channel. If today is your first time of visiting my channel, I want you to do well by hitting the subscription button and also turning the subscription bell on so that anytime we post in this channel, you can be able to get notification to enable you watch our videos. So on today's edition, I'll be teaching you how you can prepare chemical as well as titrating in order to get to your end point. So everything I'm going to do here is real. I'm not going to manipulate anything. So that is the more reason why you need to remain in this video. Do not skip this video, because anytime you skip my video, you will end up missing one step or the other, and by the time you try to carry out your own practical, you may have a failed result. So that is more reason why you need to remain in this channel and watch this video till the end, because every part of this video has a special information that you need in order to carry out this practical effectively. Here we have potassium permanganate. This is potassium permanganate. Yes, we'll be using potassium permanganate. So, and here we have iron 2 sulfite. Iron 2 sulfite. That is what we'll be using today. And there are materials we'll be using. This is what we call flask, which is 1,000 mils. Okay. Now look at this. In mixing, 1,000 mils is equal to 1 dm cube. 1,000 mil is equal to 1 dm cube. So this is what we'll be using to mix our chemicals, such as the potassium permanganate and the iron 2 sulfite. And here we have our methyl orange, which is serving as our indicator in this practical. This is our sulfuric acid, which I'll be preparing. We have our burette and our pipette, which is 25 mil. That is what we'll be using today. And here I have my scale. This is the scale we'll be using to measure the chemicals as being given by the WAEC. So I want you to pay very much attention, as I'll be taking you step by step on how to prepare the chemicals. 150 cm cube of potassium tetraoxomanganate 7 solution in a cork flask or bottle labeled AN. This should all be the same, containing 1.58 gram per dm cube of potassium permanganate solution. Okay, so what this simply means now is that we should measure this potassium permanganate 1.5 grams. We should measure 1.5 grams of this now and dissolve it in this 1,000 mil, which is equal to 1 dm cube. Okay, so using our scale, I will put my filter paper on it. Now, so when you put your filter paper, you first of all weigh the filter paper, and on your scale you press star in order to correct it to 0 before you start to measure your chemicals. Paper on it. Now this is my potassium permanganate. Then I will gradually So at first I will have to dissolve this potassium permanganate crystal in this container so that we can now transfer it. I will advise you to dissolve first. So here now we go ahead and pour it inside here, and use our stirring rod to stir it. Then here we have our water. This is our water. So I will gently add this into this point. So you try and raise it. Then after that, we can now gradually add drop by drop. I will take water drop by drop until okay, as you can see, it is at this particular line here. It is at this particular line here. Okay, so that is it. Now the next thing we do now is we try to homogenize it. We cover it and then we homogenize it. Now I will advise you, after you are done with this, you must do this very early in the morning, or possibly a day before the day of the exam, which is on the 14th. You do it on the 14th so that on the 15th, when they are writing the exam, the thing must have been okay. So you keep it aside for the next one. So now let's take a look at the second one, which is the iron 2 sulfite. So now this is our iron 2 sulfite. This is our iron 2 sulfite. So we gradually look at the color here. So we okay. So the next thing there is we put directly into this. I would like to put this one directly into here. Let me add some water first. This is water, so I will gently pour it right inside there. So then I can now begin to add my water. So on this note, I'll have to add it drop by drop so that it doesn't exceed okay. So next thing there is we also try to homogenize it and still leave it till the next day. Okay, so what I have here now is sulfuric acid, which is tetraoxosulfate 6. Tetraoxosulfate 6. So in this practical requires a dilute tetraoxosulfate 6 acid. Now the reason why WAEC is demanding for us to provide this is so that we can be able to acidify the potassium permanganate. Yes, can be able to acidify the potassium permanganate, because already the potassium permanganate is an indicator of its own, and without acidifying it, you may not be able to get the real color that you need. And again, in this practical, I'll be teaching you how to dilute the tetraoxosulfate 6, which is in order to get about 2 moles of tetraoxosulfate 6. So in preparing that, all we need to do is we get our measuring cylinder, then we measure. I'll be preparing at least 100 mils of this particular tetraoxosulfate 6 in order to get our 2 moles. So in doing this, I will measure 5.5 mils of tetraoxosulfate 6 acid, and I'll be diluting it in water. I'll be diluting it in 100 mils of water. With that, we can be able to get 2 moles of tetraoxosulfate 6 acid. We can be able to get 2 moles of tetraoxosulfate 6 acid. So I want you to pay attention in this practical as I do it. Please, there is something I want to let us understand as far as this 2024 WAEC practical is concerned on chemistry. WAEC has given you instructions on what you are to provide for the students. They have given you the volume, the grams of the things you are to provide. So it is your right as the teacher to provide this material. Now, I've seen so many people saying a lot of things concerning this particular titration. Some even go as far as doing some calculation in order to arrive at a higher value like 20, 21. That is theoretically, without practicalizing it. I want you to understand that this practical is majorly for students, and before WAEC releases this specimen and their requirements, they must have carried out the practical on their own. So it is not late for you to provide these materials. Do it the way WAEC asks you to do it and present it to the school. Don't try to apply your own knowledge as a teacher, because applying your own knowledge as a teacher, it simply means that at the end of the day you may end up having issues in terms of the preparation or in terms of the exam or the students writing the exam. So all I want you to do is whatever WAEC said you should do, let us do it that way. Let us stop, trying to increase the value or decrease the value. It is very, very wrong. Okay? It is very, very wrong. After the titration, if your titration is high, and knowing fully well that all your calculation, all your measurements are correct, you have nothing to worry. They know what they are giving to the students, and it's not in your hands to increase it or decrease it under probability or trying to hypothesize some of these things. No, it is not done that way. Please let us take note. In this practical, I'll be using 2 methods in getting my values. One, I'll be acidifying the potassium permanganate only and titrate to see the value. Secondly, I will be adding few drops of methyl orange and the dilute hydrochloric acid to see their reactions. With that, we can know the difference between titrating by acidifying the potassium permanganate and adding methyl orange. Let's see if their value will change. So I want you to pay attention as we embark on this procedure. With this, it will give us the assurance, because WAEC has given us an indicator which is methyl orange. So I believe that this methyl orange has a role to play as far as this titration is concerned. So at this point, I will be filling my burette. I'll be filling my burette with potassium permanganate solution. So just pay attention. So I'll be filling it up to 0 level. I'll be filling it up to 0 level. So you try remove your funnel. So as you can see, it is at 0 level. It is at 0 level. So now I will pipette my iron 2 sulfite. I'll be pipetting my iron 2 sulfite. So let us add few drops of the sulfuric solution. And remember what we said. This time I will not be adding methyl orange. Let's see the different value or the difference between adding methyl orange and when you don't add methyl orange. But in the both, we will be acidifying them using our solution. You see, it has changed color. So at this point, when it changed color, that is when you take your reading. That is when you take your reading. So let us check our reading. Let's take our reading. So here we have 11.5. We have 11.5 as our first titer. Now let's tite again. So at this point now, I will want us to have our initial to be that same 11.5. So let's try and acidify it again. Now our initial, remember, is 11.5. So we continue to tite. So here we have 23.1. We have 23.1. We have 23.1. So I would like us to review for the last time. Let's type for the last time so that we'll be sure of what we are doing. Then I will acidify. Remember, we still have another method to use where we'll be adding our methyl orange. But first, let us conclude on this one in order to know the difference. That is very, very important. So that in case if WAEC demands any of this, you will know what you'll be expecting. So I fill it back up to 0 point. Now I've acidified it, so let's tite. So
from
here
my
now
reading,
I have
I have
11.6. I have
23.2.
11.6
I have
when we refilled it
23.2, which
to
is
0 level. We have 11.6. So at this moment now, let us move into the second method, where we'll be
so.
acidifying and adding methyl orange. We'll be adding methyl orange on this, and we'll try to check for the changes and the difference between when methyl orange is added and when we don't add methyl orange, as well as the color reaction. So let me acidify by adding small quantity. So this is my methyl orange. So I'm going to take few drop of methyl orange and put directly into the solution. Now let's begin to titrate. Remember, I have refilled my burette up to 0 level. So you can see it is changing. It is gradually becoming colorless. As you can see, gradually becoming colorless. Okay. Now you can see the color change. The color change. The difference now becomes the color change. So now let us look at the value to see whether this value will change. Wow, the value didn't change much. We have 11.4. Sorry, it was fast. 11.4. Okay, 11.4. What we got the other time was 11.5 when we used only when we did not add the methyl orange. So let's start again. So I am leaving my burette to be 11.4. Let's see. So we begin to tight. So it has reacted. So now let's take a look at the reading. So from our initial, which is 11.4, let's see, our final reading is 23.0. Thank you for watching my video. If you have any comment, please, I want you to leave your comment on the comment section below. As far as I get notification, I will give you answer to your questions. Okay?